Hi, I'm Tiffany, and today we're talking with Amy Witherite of the law firm of Eberstein and Witherite, and we're talking about car accident injuries and how families of victims tend to suffer like victims do in a lot of cases. Amy, from your experience, what are some of the issues that family members of car wreck victims deal with when they come to you for help?
You know, Tiffany, unfortunately, in some of these car wrecks, people are very severely injured, or they end up needing some sort of surgery that can change their life. Hopefully, it changes it for the better and puts them out of pain, but sometimes it doesn't. And so, what we have to look at all the time is the effect on either the husband or the wife, and what they have to do around the house, and what they have to do in terms of really the loss of their relationship with their spouse. So I'll give you an example. I've got a case where a really nice lady, a school teacher, got rear-ended, and it was a pretty bad hit. She tried to keep working and did work for about another 3 months, but it was just struggling so much. And she ended up needing to go see a neurosurgeon. She ended up with both neck surgery and low back surgery, and hasn't been able to go back to work, and has had a very difficult recovery physically, emotionally, and mentally. And her husband has really had to become her primary caregiver. You know, even though this nice lady had health insurance, that health insurance doesn't cover all of the daily needs someone who's that severely injured needs. And her husband's really stepped up. He's now, he takes care of the house, he takes care of the shopping, takes care of the laundry, takes care of the vacuuming. He actually really helps his wife, at least initially, with a lot of just the regular things we do every day, helping her out of bed, helping her out of the shower, helping her to and from places in their house so that she could have some mobility. Thankfully, she's improved some since then, which is a good thing. But her husband really had to do a lot of things, plus hold down a full-time job. And so the law permits a recovery for what's known as loss of household services. And I know that sometimes over the years, housewives have gotten a bad rap, that you don't get paid for this job. But interestingly enough, over the years, there have been news organizations that have tried to quantify what you would have to pay someone to stay at home and take care of all the things around the house, take care of the kids, take care of the financial responsibilities. And that also applies here in lawsuits. So what we did in this particular case is hired an economist who could then calculate what is the real monetary value for the husband who's picked up all these household services. And there is a number to that. And quite honestly, it's in excess of $100,000. So it's a substantial damage element that needs to be explored when you have folks that are so devastatingly injured and they just really need the help. The other thing that can be compensated is the loss of the relationship. And that doesn't mean you don't love each other anymore. But I got to tell you, this couple, they sleep in separate bedrooms most of the time. It's just too hard on the injured spouse with something as simple as her husband turning back and rolling back and forth in bed. And that has a monetary value. It's not something that we can put pen to paper and calculate, but jurors do it all the time, and they try and compensate people and be fair with them for those losses of really the most important thing between you and your spouse. So there are those damage elements that you really need to talk to a law firm who understands them and who can talk to real people about them and isn't afraid to stand up in front of a jury and explain why the husband or the wife who's been doing all of these things out of love should still be compensated for it. So those are some of the things we do here.
If there's a case where a person's loved one has died after they've been caretaker, are there other damages they can claim if there was maybe they depended on them for financial support and there were kids involved? What's the extent of the help that they can receive from contacting an attorney with moving forward after these types of tragedies?
You know, those cases are horrible cases. Very, very emotionally hard on everyone. But the reality of it is, I have one of those right now, really, really good guy, um, died in a wreck. And, what we can do for his family, in part, is it's called a loss of inheritance. But really what it is the loss of what the husband in this case is the one who died. He was the main breadwinner. His wife works, but he was the main breadwinner. And that loss is devastating to her. She's trying to hold on to the house. She's trying to hold on the property. They live a bit out in the country, and she's just struggling. And that's because she doesn't have his income to help offset all those expenses. And that very much is a damage that is recoverable in a lawsuit like this. There's also the loss of her husband, so that he's gone, so she still has a right to recover for the loss, again, kind of that relationship. And then his natural kids. I know that sounds funny, but sometimes we have stepkids, and stepkids aren't allowed to recover. But your biological children are allowed to recover for the loss of the relationship when, in this case, dad dies. And those are really hard damages to quantify, but the law understands that they count and that they matter. And jurors have been very good at trying to find a fair and reasonable and respectful amount of money to try and say, I know this won't compensate you for your husband and your dad being gone, but I see it, I understand, and I know you suffered a huge loss. So those are some of the other damage elements that you just have to explore when you're in such a tragic case.
What's the best way if somebody's in this type of situation and they need legal help? What's the best way to get in contact with your firm?
Well, there's a lot of different ways, Tiffany. They can call us at 1-800-CAR-WRECK. We answer that phone 24/7. They can contact us through ewlawyers.com. They can reach out to us on Facebook. We have a 1-800-CAR-WRECK site on Facebook. And quite frankly, if you Google Amy, middle initial K, Dallas attorney, you're going to come up with tons of articles that we've worked on over the years, and you can reach us and go through the backlinks there. So hopefully somebody can find us pretty easily if they need to. And quite frankly, Tiffany, my phone number's listed. They can call me at the house if they really need something.
Well, thank you for talking to us, Amy.
All right. Thanks a bunch, Tiffany. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.